From Tally to Cali.
It's time
to wake up.
Wake up!
Warchant.com is your ultimate Seminole sports source.
And this is Wake Up Warchant, presented by
Vitamin Energy.
The vitamins.
The energy.
Now here's Warchant.com's Aslan Hajavandi
and Corey Clark.
Wake up! It's Wake Up Warchant presented by Vitamin Energy. Coming up on today's show, the injuries. How will they affect tonight's game? Will the College Sports Commission truly lay down the hammer and regulate the sport? And an all-time metaphor from our guy, Corey Clark. Wake Up Warchant presented by Vitamin Energy. VitaminEnergy.com. Shake it and take it, but use the promo code warchantbogo. Save yourself some money. Buy one, get one free when you go to VitaminEnergy.com and use the promo code warchantbogo. Synergistically formulated with all natural caffeine, no sugar crash, body-nourishing vitamins. Everything is in that one little bottle. It's not like there's 3 different things you have to take. There's not a shot of vitamins and then a shot of energy. It's all in one little bottle. Vitamin Energy, Warchant BOGO. Use the promo code. Warchant.com, your ultimate Seminole sports source. Still $1 for a week and a year subscription to The Athletic. That is solid. Almost as solid as the writing, the musings, the thoughts that we get from Corey Clark daily over at Warchant.com, and at least 5 days a week during the football season here on Wake Up Warchant. Corey, where are you right now?
I am about 40 minutes outside of Raleigh, North Carolina, as we speak. Been a long day, long trek, but I figured instead of waiting to the hotel to do it, I'd have my beautiful bride drive the car, scare the dickens out of me, and we'll try to record this podcast while I'm in the car because it's kind of late and want to get this knocked out for the people.
I gotcha. So we'll have Noah Fleischman breaking down the Wolfpack later on the show. We got our over-unders going down. Let's look at the injury report. We actually have that finally one of these days while doing the podcast. So, Jabril Rawls obviously out for the season. We found that out earlier in the week. Diamante Diggs remains out. Quindarius Jones out. Ricky Knight III, obviously, because of his, I think that's more about his legal proceedings probably. Caleb LaValle, Ethan Pritchard, and then Donnie Hebert are out. Questionable. Omar Graham Jr., Chase Lofton, Sam Singleton Jr., which is a development, I guess we could call that, Corey, and then Richie Leonard, the fourth, also listed as questionable. For the NC State side, Teague Anderson's their starting right tackle. He went down in the Miami game and did not return, so he is listed as questionable as well. Rawls being out, Sam Singleton and Richie Leonard being questionable, which is the more concerning thing for you tonight as the Noles take on NC State?
I would say probably Richie Leonard, just because it makes you so thin. Like Rizzy's fine, Rizzy can play, but like, what if somebody else gets banged up? Because Rizzy's basically your backup at every position. So if another starter gets banged up or has to miss some time, then you're going into guys that have not played much. I know Otto played a little bit against Virginia Tech, but yeah, you're gonna have to dip into the subs, and we don't know if any of those guys can play. So that's the one that gives me the most pause. I think Singleton, he's been playing well. He's run hard, but I feel like you got enough running backs that you should be able to mitigate that, especially if Tommy's going to run like he did last week. Yeah. But honestly, when you look at this game, you also got to make some plays through the air. Running back or not, they're going to be committed to stopping the run, whether Singleton's in the game or not. They know they have to do that. It's the one thing they do kind of okay as a defense. So they're going to be putting all their eggs in that basket because they know Florida State's going to want to run the ball. So you've got to hit them over the top with some plays. Yeah. 3, 4, 6, whatever it has to be. He's got to make some throws tonight.
Yeah, I'm a little bit concerned about the Jabril Rawls absence. I mean, funny's not the right word, but, they did not have Richie for large parts of that game against Virginia Tech last weekend, and they obviously didn't have Jabril for the entire game, and they end up looking really good, right? But this NC State offense on the flip side, Corey, like they are obviously going to try to get CJ Bailey back on track, not having Jabril out there. Where we're talking about Kai Bates, Charles Lester. Who else? There's somebody else escaping me that's actually been in front of Charles Lester here recently. Duty Arnaud, obviously.
Arnaud.
So we'll see how that all works out. They'll get another final injury report right before kickoff. Check out warchant.com, the Tribal Council. Corey and Ira will be in Carter Finley Stadium, so there will be a game thread. Real quick, NC State's got a defensive back who's out. His name's Isaiah Crowell. Wasn't that the name of big-time running back who committed to Georgia and used like actual bulldog puppies for his announcement?
I think he was from Columbus, and yeah, he pulled out a bulldog puppy out of his jacket.
Yeah.
And that's how he announced he was going to Georgia. After that, they should have shut all that down and been like, no more of these things. You're not going to top a kid bringing a live bulldog puppy to his press conference and having him like crawl up his jacket and start licking his neck. That's how he announced he was going to Georgia. Great memory there, Aslan.
Yeah,
good job.
Yeah, because I saw somebody tweet something about, Lane Kiffin should go ahead and just put 3 hats on a table and have an announcement.
That's what I tweeted
Was
out.
it you that
Not
tweeted
someone.
out?
That was me.
All right, sorry. Oh, I saw yours. I was sorry. I was literally out with Abby shopping, and I was scrolling through Twitter while she was doing some stuff, and I saw you retweet the photo, the video that the Falcons reposted about the MARTA bus that blocked the demolition of the Georgia Dome, and your caption to it made me audibly laugh out loud. In the Aritzia was the name of this.
About that it should be it should have won a
Oscar
best
for
short film
film
at the Oscars. Yeah. It's unbelievable. And when you have the audio on, it makes it even worse.
You stupid bus!
It makes it even better.
Yeah, the despair.
Yeah, he's like, oh no, it's so funny. I would encourage everyone to go if you're too young or you don't remember it. Somebody's filming the demolition of the Georgia Dome. Which I had some okay memories in there, I guess. Nothing great. I'm a Falcons fan. They didn't do a ton of great things in there. But they're blowing it up like 8 years ago. A guy's positioned with his camera to get it right on the bridge to see the implosion. And that's a once-in-a-lifetime thing. I've never been there. I've never been anywhere for a real implosion.
Yeah, some big demo.
That's a once-in-a-lifetime thing to see a stadium imploded. And you start to see the pops going off and the roof starting, smoke coming from the roof. And then right as that happens, a MARTA bus pulls right in front of them, blocks the entire thing for 20 seconds, pulls off, and all you see is smoldering smoke. When the MARTA bus pulls away, it's all over, and people are cheering. It's unbelievable. It's like they set it up. He set it up with that female bus driver ahead of time.
MARTA, by the way, that's what? Metro Atlanta Rapid Transport Authority?
Yes.
Close enough?
Yep. You get it. You nailed it. Yeah.
All right. I don't have a lot other to talk about other than the over-unders that we're going to do here later, Core. But I did see this that kind of happened on Wednesday, and we didn't get to it during the live show. But some reporting from Front Office Sports. And listen, I know no one wants to talk about coaching. I get it. So we'll probably not talk about that today. But the economics of the sport is another thing that's kind of a snooze yawn fest for so many people because we just don't know. There's so many moving parts. But there was reporting on Wednesday that had the agreements between the College Sports Commission, which has been tasked with regulating NIL, and then the power conferences. Like they have the documents been finalized. The power conferences have 2 weeks to sign. The agreement won't take effect until they all sign. So we'll see how it goes. All the agents and the lawyers that represent the players are pushing back on this because part of it's going to have you can't sue, so that they don't like that. But from the reporting from the Front Office Sports, Amanda Kristovich has in here, Corey, power conferences have also agreed in principle to penalties for violating new NIL rules, which include, in some cases, a postseason ban. These penalties will be reflected in a new NCAA bylaw. Schools could face steep penalties if their associated entities sue the College Sports Commission on their behalf. Think athletes, attorney generals, collectives. Penalties include foregoing conference revenue and serving postseason bans. And I say this, Corey, because part of this rebuild and what is going to happen moving forward, Florida State hinges on apparently spending a whole lot of money on players, which I get it. We're going to have to do that. The rev share, they're already maxing out. Why not just spend some money on some rats? Why not spend some money on some PIs to start turning other schools in? It'd be a lot cheaper to get like 5 private investigators to find out how Ohio State is funneling $2.7 million to a wide receiver in South Florida than it would be to actually pay that guy $2.8 million to come to you. I say that in jest, but just I'm encouraged, but I think I might be a little Pollyanna naive to think this is actually going to go through. Do you sense any kind of turning point with this stuff moving forward possibly?
I mean, I hope so. And I know there'll be Twitter lawyers and other people that will say, well, that's not constitutional. It's not right. It's blah, blah, blah. And we all understand that. That's fine. Nobody's making you play college football.
Correct. Yeah.
You can go learn a living. You can go wait your 3 years and then go enter the NFL draft if you want, or you can go try to play in Canada, or you can go overseas and play for Bjorn Werner. It doesn't matter. If you're going to play college football, there are going to be rules in place that, they're going to limit your earning potential, because otherwise this is a complete mess. I would love, and I say that knowing, and I brought this up for 8 years we've been doing the show, I would love there to be some sort of cap on how much you're allowed to pay coaches too. Wouldn't that be wonderful, Florida State fans?
Yeah.
If there was a cap on how much you could pay or owe coaches. Because, yes, it's not fair that the players are the ones that are punished. I would say, though, that what's different in the NFL has a salary cap. That's constitutional. I know it's collectively bargained, but you're going to sign a document at some point. If this all comes to pass, you're going to sign a document saying you want to play college football. Well, when you play college football, this is going to be the rules for you. I hope it happens. I hope it happens quickly, like for next season. And I also hope there's teeth in the enforcement. Otherwise, it means nothing. But yeah, if they're going to have if they're going to have real punitive damages for skirting the rules or completely disobeying the rules, which means you don't get to qualify for the playoffs, then by God, do it. But we'll see, man.
Yeah.
What? How many people are going to be in that regulatory outfit? 20, 100, 500? How many would you need? 1 million? So it'd be great for the 100,000 people leading this in college football, but it's such a big business, as I've said before. It's such a big business. You have to have some parameters.
Yeah.
So we'll see it. We'll see if that happens. But that is encouraging. And I know people scoff at, like, what do you mean you can't sue? Man, you can't sue. Sorry, you can sue, but if you don't want to sign it, it's fine. You don't get to play.
Yeah.
So those are your two choices. I'm all about that. I know that's probably a little bit anti-constitutional, maybe a little anti-capitalism, anti-American. I don't care, man. It's college football. If they're good enough, they'll go play. Yeah. And hey, we'll go back to under the table.
Yeah. Two other things. What do you think about my boy John Sumrall from Tulane apparently not going to interview with the Florida Gators for their job? Apparently, like, there was maybe a interview scheduled, but then I don't know if he backed out or they told him no thanks. But he's a guy that's going to be able to have a really good defense, I feel like, no matter where he goes. So I'm glad he's not going to Florida, because I don't know really I know Billy Napier's earned his bones being an offensive coach, but he was never considered like one of the great ones. Not that I think John Sumrall is some sort of defensive guru, but like, he has a defense that plays really hard everywhere he's been. So I like it. Let them keep going down their list.
Well, that you'd rather him hire, in my opinion, Sumrall than Kiffin.
Oh, clearly.
And if Kiffin's still a possibility, the AAC guy, then Kiffin, because I think Kiffin's about the biggest slam dunk that's out there, and there's not. You never know how somebody's going to fit in with the culture and a program. Yeah. But that's. I think Florida's aiming higher than that. We'll see where they end up settling on. They always do, right? They aimed for. Didn't they aim for Mike Shanahan when he was coaching the Broncos?
Yeah,
or something?
man. Bob
like
Stoops all the time. Yeah, Mike Shanahan was a guy.
And then ended up with Ron Zook.
Oh.
That was 20-something years ago. Then they got that Urban Meyer guy in the middle, and then have been nothing but substitute teachers since. Yeah. So let's hope they hire another one of those guys. But for all we know, Kiffin is still in the Kiffin thing. I know this is Wake Up Warchant, not Wake Up Rebels or Wake Up College Football. But the Kiffin thing, I just think, is so fascinating, because there's never been a situation like this, and he's going to have a playoff team where he might not be the coach, and that's insane.
Yeah.
It's also insane that two of the bigger programs in the United States are waiting and don't have a head coach and might not have a head coach until January. One of them definitely won't. So we'll see. We'll see where that goes. I was going to say this, though, about Sumrall. Like, and if he's a Florida State candidate, if and when that job comes open, I'm not saying he wouldn't succeed here. I'm not saying that he's not better than Norvell or wouldn't be better than what Norvell has done. It's just until you get to one of these positions, and I'm talking about blue blood, it really kind of doesn't matter what you've done at a non-blue blood. It just doesn't. Like, it's one thing to get Tulane to a position where they can beat other AAC teams. It's a whole other thing to get Florida where they can win the SEC East.
Yeah.
Or Florida State where they can be in the top 10 again, recruiting against the likes you're recruiting against. So it's we'll see. I can't wait to see what the conversation's going to be for Monday's show, Aslan. It's a big one. It's a big one tomorrow night, I think.
Yeah, and to that point,
tonight.
Yeah,
Sorry.
and to that point, the line has now moved up to 5.5 points. So it feels like that means the money is coming in on Florida State, the public money. So, they have not looked great on the road, right? We've talked about that a lot this week. So, I mean, is everything trending in the direction now that, like, this is all going to happen? And I guess my more specific question, Corey, is that if it's going to happen, does Florida State, are they equipped, are they built to win 35-31, or will this be a game where they're going to win and probably cover if they do win?
I don't know, man. I don't know that they're built to win on the road. It's hard to say it's hard to predict how this game will play out. I do think the offense will play better. I think Malzahn, any tricks he has up his sleeve, they're going to be on display. They're going to be on display in this one because they know how big it is. You're not going to hold anything back, not even for the Florida game. So I just think they know how imperative it is that they not just play well but win the game, but the offense has to do better. They've scored 23 points total their last 2 road games, not against great teams, below average teams or average teams. So they need it. It would be great if they got in the 40s. It would be great if it looked like Virginia minus the turnovers. We'll see if they can do that on the road. That Virginia game was 2 months ago, it feels like. So That was the last time. I know they've only played 2 other road games since then, but that was the last time they played well on the road was 2 months ago, as an offense, So it's interesting, and I was thinking about this analogy, and I might use it in the column I write after the game, win or lose, is that, when it real quick, and we'll touch on this real quick. This was the analogy I came to when it comes to whether you keep a guy or not, and whether money should be a factor. And I was thinking about Devin Travis Jordan Travis's brother, everyone, when he was a minor leaguer. He was a minor leaguer in the Detroit Tigers system, and I think Devin was like an 11th round pick or a 9th round pick. He was not a bonus baby. And there were guys that the Tigers had drafted at his position, infield, that got more money than him. They were first-round picks or second-round picks. So the Tigers had invested millions of dollars into those guys. So everything being equal, they were going to give the tie goes to where the money is invested more. And I was thinking about it, but Devin ended up playing well enough he got traded by the Tigers, but ended up playing well enough in the minor leagues to be a starter for the Blue Jays, and would have been a really good one for a long time if his body didn't betray him. So the Braves had Marcell Ozuna, who they don't ever sign free agents. He was the last one they signed to a big contract. They wouldn't sign Freddie. They didn't sign Max Fried, but they signed Marcell Ozuna after, I think, the 2020 season. I think it was 2020, where he hit like 330. He led the league in RBIs. And so they re-signed him to a 4-year deal. And in 2021, I think it was 2021, he was so bad, they eventually had to bench him after like 3 months. He was awful. He was the worst hitter in the league. And then he faked an injury, I think, and didn't play the rest of 2021. He might have actually had an injury, or maybe he was suspended. I can't remember. 2022 comes around, and he's even worse. The first 6 weeks of the season, he's literally the worst hitting outfielder in baseball. It makes no sense. He's awful. But the Braves still don't bench him because of how much money they've invested in him. They're like, no, we're not going to bench this guy to play some kid from the minor leagues that doesn't have his potential, and that costs $300,000 as opposed to $26 million. We don't want to just eat that money. Marcell Ozuna ended up turning around and being one of their best hitters the next 2 years. And then he was awful again in 25, whatever. The point being, if Norvell goes 7-5, you've got so much invested in him. The tie goes to where the money's at. So the tie, and maybe he turns it around like Ozuna did, or maybe he ends up having a horrible Ozuna season. Like, I don't know what that would look like in 2026. But understand, the point of all that means, because I hear people say this a lot, that, well, if Florida State keeps them, they don't care about winning. I mean, do the Atlanta Braves care about winning? I feel like they do. I feel like they got a pretty good track record these last 20 years, last 15 years, 10, of caring about winning and being a really good franchise. Now, they weren't in 2025 because everybody got hurt, but I would say on the whole, Aslan, they're not the Pittsburgh Pirates.
Correct.
They care about winning baseball games. So them playing Ozuna does not mean they don't care about winning baseball games. They're trying to protect their investment and get the most out of it in hope that they turn it around. That's why I think Norvell is still here. They're Marcell Ozuna-ing this thing, hoping that he can turn it around these next 2 games. I would also understand that if it doesn't happen tonight, and this might be in my column, if it doesn't happen tonight, is you've given them a whole other season. It hasn't worked. You can't. At some point, you got to go find a rookie that you're going to have to eat the money. You have to eat the contract because everybody wanted the Braves to release Ozuna. Eat the contract, eat the money. It's easier said than done. The Braves still cared about winning. They still trotted his big old butt out there every day, and he finally started squaring up balls again and hit him to the moon. Maybe that happens with Norvell. Does that analogy work at all? I know it took up the whole show. But I was thinking about that analogy and how, I just don't like the idea that Florida State doesn't care. If they keep Norvell, they just clearly they don't care about winning. It's like, no.
But what do you think about Wisconsin? Does Wisconsin care about winning? Does Maryland care about winning? Or they've succumbed to the fact that they don't have the money to move on?
Yeah, and the Mets, I think, the Mets cared about winning, and Francisco Lindor was horrible for them for a while, and they spent a ton of money on him. He ended up being good for him. You got to put money in your investments. You're not going to give up on them. That said, going winless on the road in the ACC for 2 straight seasons, that might be just a bridge too far. I don't know. But the Florida State, I promise, if they keep this guy, it does not mean they don't care about winning.
Marcell Ozuna's WAR was 2.8 in 2020. It then went to minus 1/10.
Unbelievable. And then he turned it back on. In 2023, he was awesome. He
had a 4.3 WAR last year, 3.4 in 2023 when he batted 274 and OPS was 905. Strong.
Yeah, he got back on the juice. I don't care what it was. He cares about winning. He cares about winning. That's all I care about.
Who cares about winning is the Corner Pocket Bar and Grill. So they are your spot to go to watch the game tonight. Delicious food, ice cold drinks, your Noles on every TV, most likely, at the Corner Pocket Bar and Grill. During halftime, go outside on the deck, get a fresh breath of air as the Noles are up by double digits going into the half. Enjoy that crisp air or throw some darts, shoot some pool in the interim. Everything you could possibly want to do on your weekend at a sports bar. It's all available for you at the Corner Pocket Bar and Grill. Plus, again, that delicious food. Happy hour from 4 to 7 p.m. Get you ready for that kickoff at 8 o'clock on ESPN. The Corner Pocket Bar and Grill, 2475 Appalachia Parkway, cptallybar.com, the website.
Ace is the place with the helpful hardware, folks.
Why would you wander around a warehouse store looking for paint when you could just swing by your neighborhood Ace? In addition to Ace's award-winning service, we have top-rated paint brands. Plus, our color matching technology allows us to match any color. So stop wandering and start painting. Head to your neighborhood Ace today.
In Crawfordville, your home convenience store is Ace Home Center and NAPA Auto Parts, located at 2709 Crawfordville Highway. Welcome back. It's Wake Up Warchant, presented by Vitamin Energy, vitaminenergy.com, warchantbogo, your promo code. As you all know, when you join warchant.com, you get access to the entire On3 universe. That includes the Wolfpacker. That includes Noah Fleischman joining us here free of charge, everybody, from Raleigh. Noah, how are you, my friend?
Good. How are you?
I'm all right. Well, we should catch up around, 1 a.m. on Saturday morning, and we'll follow up. But let's talk about this game coming up on Friday night at 8 o'clock inside Carter Finley Stadium. And I guess let's just start off kind of, macro, and then maybe start going a little more granular. But just, NC State's a team that jumped out to a 3-0 start this season, and things have not looked all that great ever since, much like Florida State, the way they start off their season. 3-0. What has gone wrong, do you think, ultimately for NC State?
It's a combination of a lot of things. Injuries haven't been helpful on the defensive side of the ball. A new scheme on the defensive side of the ball also hasn't been great. And on the offense, it's been pretty good, but this is a team that kind of relies on scoring 30 to 40 points to win a game. And when the offense can't move the ball like it did against Pitt, Notre Dame, or Miami, the result is a blowout loss. And that's kind of where things stand. They started 3-0. They've lost 5 of the last 7, and to come in 5-5, trying to make a bowl at this point.
Yeah. I mean, you mentioned it there that when they can't move the ball against Notre Dame, Pitt, and Miami, bad things happen. Those are 3 of their last 4 games, so they're not peaking. I mean, what happened against that Georgia Tech team, undefeated at that point in ACC play, 48-36, that maybe kind of feels real, or is that the whole Carter Finley kind of magic that maybe some folks in Tallahassee don't really have a grasp of, and that's why so many people here in Tallahassee are still frightful of this game?
Yeah, NC State is a team that's played so much better at home. They only have 1 road win this year. It was at Wake Forest, which has turned into a pretty good win by this time this year. But at home, they've played well. They only have 1 home loss. It was to a Virginia Tech team with an interim coach, so it wasn't great. But Georgia Tech is kind of the thing. If Carter Finley Stadium at night is just a different beast, and that was the game, a night game against a number 8 Georgia Tech team, where NC State, not only were they playing with nothing to lose against the top 10 team, they were without their 2 best players on offense, and Hollywood Smothers and Justin Jolie, forced them to move the ball to other people, and it worked, right? Their 2 backup tight ends played really, really well. Backup running back almost ran for 200 yards. So I think this is a team that plays really well at night and plays really well at home. So this game does line up well, and their last 2 games are both night games at home. It's a team that struggled with generating its own energy. It feeds off the crowd, and this will be a game where it can do that again.
Man, that sounds like Florida State to a large degree. Health-wise, Florida State, they will be without Jabril Rawls. He did not play last week. That didn't really seem to hinder their passing defense, but that's obviously Virginia Tech trying to throw the ball on you, which is completely different than CJ Bailey. Health-wise, how are the Pack right now going into this one, do you think?
Pretty banged up. They've got like 10, 12 guys out for the year, most of that coming in the secondary, and they're on their 4th and 5th safeties. They're on their 4th nickel. It's not been a great year for NC State on the defensive side of the ball health-wise. Offensive line is also dealing with a lot of injuries right now. Both guards have been in and out of the lineup. They were without their right tackle for most of the game at Miami last week. So this is a thing where NC State's going to be coming in, pretty injured coming into this game.
All right, let's look at the offense. I guess the brighter spot of the NC State program right now. I mean, CJ Bailey melted down last week, but there's some things in play there where he's from Miami. You're going back home. I'm sure you feel this really big urge to ball out. How, I guess, confident are you that he will be able to kind of respond and bounce back, or do you think maybe this is the beginning of a spiral for the young man?
No, I think he will be able to bounce back, because when you look at the games that he's had where he does, kind of melt down, he's had, 3 games with 2 or more interceptions. The other 2 games were at Notre Dame with 3 picks and at Duke with 3 picks. He bounced back against Virginia Tech with 240 and 2 touchdowns. They did lose that game by 2. And then he came back at Pitt, threw for 225, 3 touchdowns, looked pretty good, but the defense couldn't stop Pitt to, really do anything in a 20-point loss. And then he came back through 340 with 2 touchdowns against Georgia Tech. So his confidence isn't an issue, I don't think. It was more of the offensive line couldn't hold up against Miami's defensive line, which is, 4 NFL draft picks probably on the other side of the ball. So we'll see what they can do against Florida State, who has a good defensive line as well. But if he has time to throw a little bit and isn't constantly being pushed back and can turn to a run game, then things go well for him. If he doesn't, he kind of forces a little bit through 2 picks at Miami, both to the same safety, and one was a pick 6 that really turned the game on its head in the first quarter.
Are they I know, in full disclosure, as we're recording this, we don't have our injury reports in front of us, but are you anticipating them having the right tackle back? I saw him go down during the Miami game.
I'm not sure. It's going to be one of those things to keep an eye on when that report comes out on Wednesday night moving forward. NC State hates talking about injuries. They don't talk about it at all. Dave Doeren is not the kind of coach that likes to talk about it. So we'll see what happens. But he is a guy that's been really solid for them. So if they do go without him, it'll be interesting. They played Valen Erickson there, a Missouri transfer who he's been fine. Nothing special. Does get a lot of penalties though. So if he is the one starting this week, then Florida State could benefit from a false start or a hold or a little bit of everything.
Teague Anderson, the starting tackle that Noah was referencing earlier, there's graded out at 67.8 at PFF. That's pretty solid for an offensive line in this conference. Weapons-wise, you mentioned Smothers, you mentioned Jolie. Tony White, the defensive coordinator for Florida State, seemed to be really, his radar, his antenna is really up for the entire receiving corps. What about them has kind of stood out to you through these games this season?
Yeah, it's just a team that, they spread the ball around. It's the only team in Power Conference that has, 7 players with 20 receptions of more. Justin Jolie is obviously the guy they look to the most with 37 catches, but the leading receiver is Terrell Anderson, 552 yards, 4 touchdowns on the outside. He's a tall guy. was a former 4-star recruit, out of North Carolina. They battled Georgia for him and got him at the end, in his sophomore year. He's playing really well. And then Noah Rogers, former 5-star, former Ohio State transfer. He's also been playing well recently too. So those are the two guys to keep an eye on. Wesley Grimes as well. He can run a sub 4.4 40, and he's the kind of guy to keep, to look for if you're going to look down the field. But this is CJ Bailey doesn't tend to target one guy a ton. He really likes to spread the ball around, and I think we'll see that again against Florida State.
Defensively, is there anything kind of redeeming, Noah? Is there a semblance of a pass rush? Are they all right on the interior and not allowing teams to gash them? I know traditional stats, it's not pretty at all when it comes to the pass defense. 134th in passing yards allowed at 300 pretty much. Defensively, what has been anything that they've been able to kind of maybe hang their hat on?
Just being a bend and not break unit, I think, is the biggest thing. They're going to give up yards. That's not a question, especially against this Florida State offense. I think, they'll do that. It's more of a matter of holding them to field goals and touchdowns. That's how they beat Georgia Tech, was, Georgia Tech could get inside the red zone, but then kind of stall it out. They had a, first and goal from the 1. They ended up kicking a field goal on. So that was a big win for NC State. I think if you're going to look for a guy to keep an eye on, it's Caden Fordham. Florida State legacy. He's going to want to play really, really well in this game, leading tackler with over 100. So if you're looking for one guy, it's number 1 in the middle. After that, it's kind of, there's not really a pass rush. There's not really a pass defense. This is a team that tries to hold you to 3 points and hope the offense can score 7.
All right. Well, I mean, this sounds like it favors Florida State, but again, it's in Raleigh, and that's just a tough place for Florida State traditionally for whatever reason. It's really hard to contextualize this, but I have to kind of ask you this, Noah. But Florida State's had every opportunity to kind of pack the tents up and give up on Mike Norvell, and they haven't. Man, they do play hard, and I hate saying that out loud because it's such a low freaking bar. And it's like, oh, gee, thanks. Like y'all are getting paid finally. He's getting paid $10 million. You guys are playing hard. Awesome. You know how many other teams play hard? Like 90% of the teams that are losing still play hard. But I know Dorn's post game against Miami was bizarre. You tweeted out that clip that went viral where he's like, listen, like I just got my blank kicked. I do this for a living. Like I don't find this funny at all. So he clearly is agitated, but I think that's just kind of his default setting. This team, though, is there a chance like they've given up on him, or do you think this is a team and a coaching staff that can kind of rally around each other for primetime game Friday night? No one else is going to be watching any other games really besides them.
No, I don't think they've given up, and I think the Georgia Tech game was a pretty big tell of they haven't quit on him yet. This is a team that struggled to move the ball in 3 of their last 4 games. They've scored touchdowns against Notre Dame and Miami, but both of those came on their last drive of the game. And so it kind of tells me they're not quitting on him there. You could easily pack it in. You're down 41-0 at Miami. You could be like, okay, we're done with this. But they didn't. This definitely is a team that's not giving up on him. They've got 2 games left, looking to win one of them to make a bowl. They can try to win 2, especially with UNC next week. But when Florida State comes to town, they want to win this game. Florida State, obviously, with the brand and everything that has to come with it, this is an opportunity for them to get back going the right direction. And at this point, NC State wants to finish with a winning record, and it has to win this game to be able to do that. So, no, I don't think the team's given up. But, yes, Dave Doran, his default setting is to be a guy that he's not the nicest guy after a loss, and you saw that against Miami. But he hasn't given up on the team either yet. This is a guy who is under contract through 2029. I don't foresee a coaching change happening at this rate. Anything could change, though, especially if they lose these last 2. But no, I think the team is there. They're locked in. It's a sold-out crowd. They've sold out every game this year at Carter-Finley Stadium. So I expect them to come out revved up. And we'll see. I think the first quarter will be the biggest tell of how this game's going to go.
There we go. I was going to ask you about the crowd and the fans, but they're showing up and packing it out. So that proves they're still engaged and bought in. We'll see how it all works out Friday night, ESPN, 8 o'clock, Florida State taking on NC State. Noah Fleischman, the Wolfpacker. Check them out for plenty more content and coverage of NC State in the lead up to this one. Noah, thanks for your time, man. I appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Underdog Fantasy Sports. If you missed us the other day, well, here's the menu for tonight. Tommy Castellanos, 43.5 rushing yards. Higher. I should have like a Stevie Winwood higher love thing to press when we
should also tell people that didn't I go 0 for last week or 2 weeks
correct,
ago? Or
correct.
we went 0 for?
Yeah.
So if you want to just bet against us, that's all. I have friends that do that.
Yeah.
That make a lot of money when I tell them what I bet on during the course of a night. They just take the opposite, and they do pretty well.
Yeah. Randy Pittman higher on 1/2 rushing or receiving touchdown. Jake Weinberg higher 7.5 kicking points. And then C.J. Bailey, 237.5 passing yards higher. Put that all together, that is a 13-1 payout, I think. Come get some, everybody. You can also do the flex to where if you lose one of these picks, you still win a whole bunch of money. Maybe not the 13-1, but it's like a 5-1 payout. Download the app today and sign up with promo code WARCHANT to score $50 in bonus funds when you play your first $5. That's promo code WARCHANT. Millions of fans have already won billions making picks on Underdog. Will you be next? Underdog, make picks, win money.
Underdog Fantasy Sports must be 18 or older, 19 or older in Alabama and Nebraska, 19 or older in Colorado for some games, 21 and older in Arizona, Massachusetts, and Virginia, and present in a state where Underdog Fantasy operates. Terms apply. See assets.underdogfantasy.com/web/play and get terms _DFS_.html for details. Offer not valid in Maryland, Michigan, Ohio, and Pennsylvania. Concerned with your play? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit ncpgambling.org. In New York, call the 24/7 Hope line at 1-877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY.
AI is coming for our jobs. Bots are actively making us fight each other on social media, and a pound of beef costs how much? Life has never been easy, but new stressors definitely complicate things. Oh, and there's you out there having to be a parent in this climate, or maybe you're going through a bad breakup. Maybe you have to manage an ailing, aging family member. You're making do, but might be a good idea to talk some stuff out. Yes, we've got friends, but it might not be the easiest on-ramp to unload all of our problems onto them. That's where Rula comes in. R-U-L-A. Look, if we pull a muscle at the gym, we'll go see a doctor most times. Access to therapy should be treated the same, but there's high copays and long waits. It doesn't make sense for many, but Rula makes therapy simple, affordable, and fast. The average session copay is $15. That's basically the cost of lunch, but instead of a sandwich, you are investing in your own headspace. Thousands of men have already found the care that they need. Don't keep putting it off. Go to Rula.com/wakeup to get started. That's RULA.com/wakeup. Take the first step, get connected. Let's control our mental health. We're back. It's Wake Up Warchant, presented by Vitamin Energy. warchantbogo, your promo code. Before we get to our over-unders, the one thing I don't think I factored into my pick, Corey, which I think Gene, myself, and Jeff picked NC State. You, Matt, Tom, and Ira picked Florida State to prevail in this. And it's like, we get it, the road woes or whatever. This feels a little bit, the last road game, they were on a 3-game losing streak going into that one, right? And then having to fly all the way across the country for it. This one, at least they've won 2 out of their last 3. Like, they're coming off of a good, comfortable win. So is that something that we should factor into tonight's game? Is that they, granted, maybe they were still ranked. I don't know. They probably weren't ranked if they lost to Pitt for the 3rd one in a row, but they are playing better football going to this road game versus but I don't know. They lost Clemson. That was a road game too. And they played really good the week before that. How do we figure out what's going to happen? We're not going to know until they play the game, right?
I do think they've played well 2 of the last 3 weeks. And it's weird with the Clemson game, man. Like I know it was ugly. I know they were down 18-0. I don't think they didn't show up to play, and I thought they played pretty darn well defensively for the most part, other than of course the first drive. But I thought they played well. They just made dumb mistakes and dropped the ball. Does that make sense? Like, I know you can't say you played well if you dropped the ball,
right? But
they weren't overwhelmed. They weren't falling all over themselves.
They were prepared well. They didn't execute.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it. I thought they were prepared well. I just think Randy Pittman's going to make that catch. Tommy's going to make those throws. Like, you got to make – at some point, you're going to make those plays, and you don't get called for a whatever they got called for.
The unsportsmanlike with what's our guy? Wayne McCoy, and then like another offensive pass interference, right? Yeah. And then he got the unsportsmanlike right after that. Yeah.
So all that stuff, man, is like stuff that I thought player for player, talent for talent, they should have felt pretty good about how they stacked up with Clemson. And I know this isn't a good Clemson team, but it's a talented team, as Gus will tell you. It's not a good team. He misspoke. A talented team. But they are talented. And Florida State didn't look overly out-talented in that game. They just did not execute. So they should feel pretty – like the Stanford game was just gross all around. The Clemson game, you just made too many dumb mistakes. If you eliminate those, I feel like you should feel pretty good about your chances in this game because Clemson is better than NC State, I think. Wake Forest is better than NC State, although NC State might have beaten them, whatever. No, Virginia Tech beat NC State. So
Correct.
yeah, I would feel like their confidence is fine, except who would know because it's a road game.
Yeah.
So I don't have really any confidence in them coming out and playing well. The only reason I think they're going to win is, like I've said too many times, it would just be a perfect Florida State thing for them to do. But also just the rule of sports and the law of averages. Like, eventually you're going to play well on the road and win a game.
Yeah.
If you're not like Kansas State in the 70s or, Prairie View A&M or Duke in the 90s or Baylor in the 90s, you are going to go win a game on the road. Like, it's not it is not this hard. Just the law of averages suggests you are going to play well away from home. So just with that more than anything, I think they will. I do expect them to play well or play well enough to win, I guess. But we'll see.
All right, let's get to our over-under. Sorry about that last 5 minutes. Janine probably brought it up because I totally forgot that they played a road game and did not look great in it against Clemson. I was like, oh, yeah, the Stanford thing.
I feel like I saved it.
You did.
Man.
Appreciate you.
We're all fired up. We all know it's going to be it's going to feel like a 90s Florida State NC State game tonight. Game.
I like that.
Just going to roll them.
All right, well, let's get some over-unders. $25 gift card to Garnet and Gold up for grabs for our members. $10 if you're not a member, but it's open to everybody. So let's go then, Corey. You want to give us a ooze or a Sawchuck number? Since
but remind
Sam's
me, I've got a great one for the last one.
Okay.
A really good one for the last one. So you got to remind me of that one.
Okay.
But yeah, so first let's do punts. Total punts in the game.
Okay.
I don't feel like the game last week, just for perspective, everyone, did not have a punt in it.
Correct.
Nobody punted, either team, which is insane. So I'm going to put and now we're playing now we're watching a game with theoretically two good offenses, not just one. I'm going to put it at 3.5 total. 3.5 total. You think 2.5 is a better number?
I was going to say 2.5. Yeah, that's fine. 3.5.
Okay, 2.5 total punts by both teams combined.
2.5 total punts. You want to do Squirrel White receptions? Keep it going?
Man, we can't do this. Yeah, you know what? Yeah, we can. Keep going. Hammering it, everyone. 0.5 Squirrel White.
All right.
Catches.
What do we got here? Do we want longest reception from Danzy or Deuce?
How about total number of receptions between Deuce and Danzy?
Okay, Deuce and Danzy.
We're hitting all the receivers.
Deuce and Danzy.
I would say, how about 8.5?
Oh, okay, yeah, I like that.
Is that too high?
No, that's a good number. I mean, Deuce. It's Deuce. It's that terrible secondary.
You know what I think they're going to do, too, a little bit? Is those little pop passes they were doing with Jalen Lucas, where it's basically a handoff, but it counts as a completion because you just kind of push it in front of you.
Yeah.
They're going to do a couple of those with Danzy to get his reception numbers up.
Okay.
So he wants to stay. Like, what are you talking about, Danzy? We throw to you all the time. Look at this.
You want to do true freshman tackles?
Oh, yeah, with Arnaud playing and the Desirs.
Yeah.
How about – and Jabril Rawls has like 9 tackles a game from that position. I think Arnaud's going to have a few because they'll be targeting him. Let's do – how about 11.5?
Okay, nice.
Maybe 12. Nice. Yeah, it's probably 11.5 is a good number with the Desir twins and Arnaud.
Yeah. You got a special teams one, or is that your really, 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 really good one?
No, I don't. We could do – how about Jalen Lucas kick returns?
Okay.
Where he actually brings it out of the end zone.
Yeah, okay.
I'm going to say 1.5 is a good number. I feel like they've decided finally, why are we not letting him run out?
Yeah.
Now, I don't think Virginia Tech has great special teams, so that might have been a reason he was told to bring it out. But I think, number one, I think NC State's going to be kicking it off a few times, and I think Lucas is going to be trying to make a play. So I think 1.5 is a good number.
Good number. Okay, all right, give us your super-duper good one.
Total number of press releases by the Florida State administration or athletic department over the weekend on the coaching situation at Florida State. 0.5.
I'm hammering the over.
You are, huh?
Well, I mean, I'm with you, man. I don't know. You and Ira have convinced me. It just makes sense that if they win, you just say, all right, we're going to ride it out.
And what if they lose?
Sadly enough. Yeah, and then it's curtains, man. No, I shouldn't say that. I think there's a better chance they win and they announce it than as if they lose.
If they lose and they announce it?
At least, hey, we told you, end of the year. We've got one more week to figure. I think they'll put their hands up on it. But that's a good number.
I think that's a good
it's
number.
A really
I think
good
that's
number.
a good.
It's a good one.
Yeah, I think that's a good over-under.
All right, that's your menu, everybody. Total punts, both teams combined 2.5. Squirrel White receptions, 0.5. Combined receptions for Deuce and Mekhi Danzy, 8.5. Combined tackles for the true freshman on Florida State's defense, 11.5. Jalen Lucas kickoff returns, 1.5. And total press releases issued over the weekend by the Florida State University Administration, 0.5. All right, there we go. That's a wrap for all of us. Thanks again to Noah Fleischman from the Wolfpacker for joining us. You can check them out if you're a member to get some more lowdown on the Wolfpack. Shout out to our guys, Ira and Cord. They'll be in Raleigh. Game Thread, War Chant Rap, originating from Carter Finley Stadium. We got the pregame show with Jeff Cameron and Tom Ling at 3 p.m. We're going to be doing a watch-along, no postgame show, watch-along, like the old times. Everybody's going to be involved. Jeff, Tom, Gene, myself, Matt Lasser. So lock it in today at work, everybody. Then get home, grab some cold ones, and maybe some wings from the Corner Pocket Bar and Grill. Let's watch some football. Let's watch a win. Have fun up there, Corey. Go to Cowfish for me, buddy.
I'm going to do it, man. I might be doing it right now. I might get Stephanie to take me there right now.
Fantastic. All right, he's Corey Maslon. Thanks for listening to Wake Up Warchant, presented by Vitamin Energy, vitaminenergy.com. Warchantbogo, your promo code.